Breathing heavily, Claire watched as the snake slithered towards where Astrid and Frida were waiting. Now we get to take a breather, Claire thought to herself, using her forearm to wipe away the sweat on her forehead. She lifted up her long brown hair from the back of her neck, though it was cooler at night. Claire felt as though she were overheating from the exertion. She sighed in relief as heat rose off of her body. I'm going to have to thank the twins when this is over. Claire looked over to where Astrid, Frida, and the twins were fighting against the snake. With the time they gained due to her, Bill, and Hannah, the four were able to take time to recover. Currently, they were fighting with renewed vigor. As Astrid swung her weapon, it penetrated through the tough scales. Getting wounded, the snake snapped its head forward, aiming for Astrid. Astrid jumped back, narrowly dodging the snake's fangs. Watching as Astrid skillfully maneuvered past the attacks, Claire understood how important it was for her to take part in the combat. I definitely can't move my body as she does, Claire thought to herself. When Astrid cleared the snake, several shots of light struck the monster. One of the bolts of energy penetrating through the creature's eyes. A shudder of pain traveled the length of its body. Farther away, Brooke and Candace were firing their rifles at the snake. Their shots aimed to keep the snake from following up its attack at Astrid with another one. The critical hit on its eyes, likely due to the skill that the two had developed during the times they fought against monsters. Running a hand through her hair, Claire's breathing began to stabilize. The stress from the fighting had started to subside, especially after witnessing the four handling the snake well. We might not even need to distract it again, unless something goes wrong. Claire looked at Bill, and thought about going to where he was standing. Judging by the expression on Bill's face, it was likely that he was thinking the same thing, despite still paying attention to the fight and making sure the situation didn't get worse. The ground trembled with the movement of the large snake as it battled against the four. When Claire felt the ground tremble, she looked at the snake in confusion. It hadn't moved enough at that moment for there to be any shaking. The feeling was like hearing extra pairs of footsteps while walking alone in the woods. Feeling the trembling again at the wrong time, Claire had a sinking feeling. She quickly looked to Bill and Hannah, who were concentrating on the others. Bill! Hannah! Claire yelled as she started to panic. The strange feeling began to bubble up from inside at a faster rate when the two didn't respond to her yells. She soon began running to Bill and Hannah. Bill! Hannah! Do you feel that? Claire kept yelling frantically while waving her arms in an attempt to gain their attention. Her foot caught a root sticking out of the grassy moss. Toppling forward, Claire grunted as she hit the ground hard. Her head spun as she lay on the ground. Even though the forest was dark, stars flickered in front of her eyes. A ringing was heard in her ears as she struggled to get up. I really need to get one of those lights, Claire bitterly complained in slurred words. Raising her head from the ground, the world felt as though it was spinning. Slipping on the moss, Claire collapsed on the ground again. Trying one more time, Claire pushed herself off of the ground. Her eyes tried to focus on her surroundings. I have to talk to Bill and Hannah. Blurred words tumbled out of her mouth. Slowly, Claire started to gain control over herself. Her eyes began to regain focus and the world stopped spinning around her. It wasn't long before her eyes widened in alarm. Staring in front of her, where the snake came from, was something that had the appearance of a large scraggly deer, but with the face of a man.